Cass, how you doing, brother? Hello, up, down, or sideways? Um, Sideways for the time being, I'll be honest. JP, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? Stormy, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? John, good to see you as well. How you doing? Cass, what do you think of the Prime? It's on Coinbase. Coinbase Prime, so the one that you pay monthly for. If you want to go for it, I mean, if you are the type of person that trades quite a lot on Coinbase, then why not go for Coinbase Prime? But if you're not the type of person that trades a lot on Coinbase, then there's no point for it. Below, good to see you. How you doing? John, Joe, good to see you. How you doing? Dennis, good to see you. How you doing? Do you know what happened with CRV? It crashed 40% yesterday. Yes, I do know what happened to CRV. CRV's founder essentially burned or liquidated, not burned, sorry, liquidated about $100-something million, which caused the project to crash. Now, CRV did this once a very long time ago as well. The same crash happened. So it seems like history is repeating itself. But with lending and borrowing platforms, there are risks to it, essentially, and that's the risk of that. But it had to do something with the founder, and it had something to do with their stablecoin, which couldn't handle the pressure. Which we'll go through it actually on tonight's live show as well regarding why CRV crashed. Good evening, Miles and all CMF. Don, good to see you. How you doing? Prime, as in the project on Coinbase. I thought you meant as in the Coinbase, because Coinbase has that pro feature going on. I thought that's what you meant. As in the Prime as a crypto project? No, I have to look into it to give you a better perspective. All good over this. All good over this way. How was your day? Extremely busy. Good to see you. How you doing? Even Miles as well. Pierce, how do you? Precious, how you doing? So, I'll go through a gist of what we're going to talk about on tonight's live show, and by that time, everyone's pretty much tuned in for the live show, and after the intro and disclaimer, to go through the first part of the live show. On tonight's live show, we're going to go through quite a mixture of topics. We're going to go through Microstrategy on tonight's live show as well. We're going to go through Microstrategy. Microstrategy, by the looks of it, is getting ready to purchase their next set of Bitcoin. We're also going to be going through on tonight's live show regarding Biden and the CFTC, because somebody has just been appointed as the head, essentially, of the FDIC, and how that's going to impact the crypto space. We're also going to be talking about the Taiwan government, essentially, establishing essentially an essentially association to help crypto firms self-regulate themselves in Taiwan and get the ball rolling. We're also going to be going through tonight's live show regarding a bill to kill the US Federal Reserve was inspired by a Bitcoin book, apparently. We're also going to be going through on tonight's live show regarding interest rate cuts and explanations from a former Fed vice chairman's opinion. We're going to go through his perspective. We're also going to talk about on tonight's live show regarding the SEC chairman Gary Gensler's potential Ether ETF approval by summer end. We're also going to be going through on tonight's live show regarding Curve Finance and essentially why Curve Finance disrupted itself by dropping about 30% out of nowhere. We're also going to be talking about tonight's live show regarding Tim Ryan, and essentially crypto is gaining popularity among Democrats is what's going on right now. We'll go through how many politicians are in favor of cryptocurrencies and how the regulations are coming out of the United States. We're also going to be talking essentially on tonight's live show regarding Terraform Labs. As we all know, and as I revealed on this live show, Terraform Labs has settled with the SEC to pay about $4 billion roughly, 4-point-something billion dollars. And Terraform Labs right now is getting ready to liquidate their own coins, which could potentially make the rest of the Luna and Luna C coins spike up in price. Not financial advice at all, but we're going to go through that as well. On tonight's live show, we're also going to be going through Galaxy Digital CEO Mike Novoscott's opinion on meme coins. We're also going to be going through on tonight's live show regarding the Chinese courts that are essentially regarding CBDCs and money laundering, but we'll go through that when we get to that news on tonight's live show. It's quite a funny news. We're also going to be talking about the EU elections on this live show as well, and the results of the future of crypto and blockchain in the EU. We're also going to be talking about on tonight's live show regarding UWU, a crypto platform that was hacked twice in about the same week. We're also going to be talking about something major coming out of the EU right now is the regulations that's coming out of the MICA, which I've been talking about it for about a good 6 months on this live show regarding MICA. And apparently we now have some idea of what projects are chosen to be the backbone of the EU in regards to data and identity. So we have an idea of what projects are actually chosen out, and I'll tell you what those crypto projects are that are chosen by the EU in terms of data and identity. We're also going to be talking about tonight's live show regarding Ripple's CEO, giving his perspective on when this entire case, Ripple versus SEC, will come to an end. But that's at the end of the live show, and I tell you what Ripple's opinion is. So, obviously, the first news we're going to be going through on tonight's live show is regarding Microstrategy, and their next purchase is pretty much getting ready for Bitcoin. But before we go through that, welcome to the CMF Live Show. If you're watching this for the first time ever, welcome to the CMF Live Show. On this live show, as always, we go through recent news that's happening around the world in terms of cryptocurrencies, CBDCs, AI, regulations, and politics, because everything plays essentially a vital role in the world shifting into a digital era. And we also do Q&As as well, which means you ask the questions, I give you the answers, and I read everybody's comments one by one inside the comment section as well. And the disclaimer of this live show, as always, is not financial advice, not political advice, and whatever I say is only for entertainment purposes. So, welcome to CMF Live Show. If you're new and if you're regular, let's go CMF. By the way, thank you so much to everyone that's retweeting and liking this live show as well. Right at the beginning, I've got notifications about it. Thank you so much for that as well. So, before we go through the first news, which is about MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor getting ready to purchase their next set of Bitcoins, let's go through the comment section first. See where we were. We were here. Yes, we're here. Does CVX have anything to do with CRV? Because that dropped a bit too the same time, but not much. They could do. Maybe they're holding assets of it. Freedom Forever. Good evening, Miles and CMF. Good to see you as well. How you doing? George. Good to see you as well. How you doing? Evening, Miles and CMF. Pierce. Good to see you as well. How you doing, brother? How you been? Good evening, Miles and CMF. Orphan, good to see you as well. How you doing? Camel, good to see you as well, brother. How you doing? Good evening, brother Miles and the rest of the family. Let's go, funky brother. Good to see you as well. How you doing? Last week / days, there are no XRP news. Well, we do have one at the end of the live show. Miles, when do you think, actually not even yesterday, I revealed Ripple news to you as well, where Ripple's essentially partnered up because the Apex Ledger event is going on. The XRP Ledger event right now is going on. So yesterday's live, I did share to you that Ripple partnered with Ultrex, and they're going to be going into real-world assets, they said in their own words, millions upon hundreds of millions of dollars is going to go towards real-world assets with that partnership Ripple just established itself with. So I revealed that yesterday to you regarding Ripple news, but also at the end of the live show, we have some Ripple news to go through as well. Miles, when do you think the proper bull run kicks off? Which month, and what do you expect as the highest point of this bull run roughly? Regarding a proper bull run, we're brewing right now. The proper bull run is pending right now. It's in motion, it's pending. It's a very slow pending due to the regulations and the politics that's going on right now. But it is pending right now. And in terms of proper prices, we're going to see high prices towards the end. This year in general, we're going to see high prices a little bit towards the end. But even next year, we're going to see higher prices, and next year we're going to see higher prices on legitimate projects because we're going into utility. This is the year that the world starts shifting, as I said previously, into a digital era. We are seeing that utility aspect coming to it. Even yesterday, I shared the data. About 56% of institutions are very eager from Fortune 500 companies to jump inside the crypto space, mostly towards real-world assets as well. Miles, please enlighten us as why are the markets down again today? Yes, I will. During this live show, I will let you know when we get to that news. Enjoy your live, sir. Let's go, Prop. Hi, thank you for the kind comments. When do you think we will see the market start going up again? Soon. Miles, brother. David, good to see you as well. How you doing? David Brewer, good evening, Miles and CMF. Good to see you as well. How you doing? Good evening, Miles. Orphan, good to see you as well. How you doing? Meld Gold as well as Clear Junction partnerships also happened this month as well. Yes, I shared those as well on this live show as well. We've shared quite a lot of Ripple news. To be fairly honest, I've shared quite a lot of Ripple news. The Junction news, the Clear Junction news I shared, the Meld Gold news I shared yesterday regarding Ripple and Ultrex coming together for real world assets. I've shared quite a lot of Ripple news actually, to be fairly honest. Come on, thank you for that. But also at the end of the live show, we have Ripple news to go through as well. But now, starting with the MicroStrategy news on tonight's live show. This one. So, MicroStrategy, as we know, are quite big on Bitcoin. And In some cases, MicroStrategy shares, MSTR, do better than Bitcoin assets, oddly. Happy Pisces, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? What category would you focus on other than real-world assets and AI to capture the macro advancements in this space? What projects would represent it? Okay, regarding what projects, I always have said that is going to be number one category because of all the corporate sector coming in. So with all the banks coming in and the entire corporate sector coming in, obviously real-world assets will play a part because the corporate sector loves that idea. Now, in terms of the banks coming in, they love the idea of cross-border payments. And they love it. So does the corporate sector in terms of wholesale CBDCs. That's mostly because the Bank of International Settlements is pushing them towards wholesale CBDCs. And there's a lot of testings going on in terms of wholesale CBDCs in the EU right now. Also inside the United States, with some testings going on as well, but they keep it very silent. The UK has that digital sandbox. They're doing wholesale CBDCs also in there as well with some of their own organizations. Dubai and China have done a wholesale CBDC payment back and forth in terms of cross-border payments as well. So number one category for me has always been, without a doubt, based on the data, based on contracts, finance. Money going digital is the number one category because it makes the world go spin. Essentially, spins the world. It's the most easiest category there is out there, cross-border payments. And for that, it has to be XRP. It has to be XRP, it has to be XLM, it has to be XDC. And ACH plays a role as well. They have more licensings, more partnerships, and more contracts in place than any other crypto project out there. And obviously, the Bank of International Settlements plays a big role as well. Bank of International Settlements, banks of all central banks, 60 centralized banks, also including G20 countries, cross-border PDF document title, cross-border payments, PDF document from the Bank of International Settlements, public document titles. SWIFT also ripples on that document as well. So, number one category is always going to be money. Money is going to make the world spin around. So, money going digital and the backbone of money being digital is the number one category. Number two category, essentially, real-world assets also falls under finance as a category. Real-world assets also falls under finance as a category. But the biggest thing is wholesale CBDCs. For the corporate sector, it's wholesale CBDCs. There are 24,000 crypto projects, and there are some of them doing AI, so there's competition there. Some of them doing gaming, there's competition there. Web3 has its own categories, there's competition there. Data has its own categories, there's competition there, and so on. But there's only one crypto project doing CBDCs and has a CBDC platform. And the entire corporate sector is going towards wholesale CBDCs. Just to put it out there. And that one project that's doing CBDCs is Ripple. No competition. They're the only one with a CBDC platform. And the entire corporate sector of the world is going towards wholesale CBDCs because of the pressure of the Bank of International Settlements. So, finance category is the number one category. Hope that answers your question, Prob. Troy, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? Miles, you share a news a few weeks ago that June would be on fire so far, just red candles. Well, I thought June was the banking category. Even though I was on CMF. Manny, good to see you as well. How you doing? I was according to an analyst. I said take it under consideration as an outcome. Now, that was according to the analyst from Bank of America as well regarding the banking category is going to be doing movements inside the banking category. Now, MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy shares a surge aimed plans for increased Bitcoin acquisitions. A forward look. On June 13th, MicroStrategy MSTR shared plans to increase its Bitcoin holdings using the profits from a $500 million convertible notes offerings. These senior notes, a type of debt strategy, are due in 2032. The firm started its plans to use the sales proceeds to buy additional Bitcoin and for general corporate purposes. MicroStrategy has been using debt to increase its Bitcoin strategy. In April, for example, the company brought an additional 122 BTC coins worth about $7.8 million, bringing in its total holdings to 214,400 BTC, valued over $14.5 billion, current market prices right now. MicroStrategy's stock performance. Despite other factors such as the addition to MSCI index and upcoming conclusions in the Russell 1000 index on June 28th, MSTR stocks has closely followed Bitcoin's price actions. However, it has often outperformed even Bitcoin, making it more lucrative short-term investment. MSTR stocks sometimes do better than Bitcoin. Now, even at missed market downturns, MSTR's market structure has remained strong. The price action has constantly been above 100-day and 50-day exceptional movements averages, EMAs, indicating that MSTR's short and long-term price trends are still robust. The Relative Strength Index, RSI, has stayed above the mid-range, indicating essentially an average buying pressure. The RSI, which is nearing oversold territory, suggests a potential bullish reversal is on the way. If this happens, MSTR could bounce off from the 50 EMA and aim for $1,800 to $2,000 per share. However, if Bitcoin occurs more losses, MSTR stock could be pulled down to the 100 EMA. The average directional index ADX reading below 20 indices lack of trend and suggests traders should proceed with caution. Despite market volatility and price consolidation, over the past 3 months, MSTR has constantly offered better returns than Bitcoin. As of now, on a monthly adjust basis, MSTR has provided 30 plus gains percentage-wise compared to Bitcoin 7% over the same period. This means that MSTR has offered nearly 4 times more returns than Bitcoin, oddly enough, and that essentially regarding MSTR being a Bitcoin company and their number one purchase being Bitcoin, they're outperforming Bitcoin's price point, which is incredible to see. But also MSTR right now, MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor is getting ready to do his next purchase on buying BTC, which should start on momentum month. Now, the next news to go from tonight's live show is regarding Biden. Good evening, Miles. Lena, good to see you. How you doing? Thanks, buddy. No problem. Anytime. Hello, Miles on CMF. Sempre, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? So, Biden apparently is becoming crypto-friendly. It's voting season. That's why he's becoming crypto-friendly. It's not because he actually cares about the crypto space. Biden doesn't even know how to spell his own name, never mind to understand what blockchain is. But Biden has nominates regarding CFTC commissioners to top spots at the FDIC and the Treasury Department. US President Joe Biden, Sleepy Joe, tapped the Commodities Futures Trading Commission's Christy Goldsmith Romero to lead the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation and Christian Johnson to the top role at the Treasury Department, according to a statement released from the White House today. Now, how is this going to be impacting the crypto space, essentially? We have a new person in charge, essentially, of the FDIC and a new person in charge of the Treasury Department going forward. Both Democrats, CFTC commissioners, have pushed the agency to issue rules or guidance that protect consumers and address conflicts of interest in crypto. Romeo has warned of the contagious risk in crypto markets, drawing comparisons to the industry and the financial crisis back in 2008, for example. Romeo also sponsors the CFTC's Technology Advisory Committee, which voted earlier this year to submit a report to the Commission's calling on the government and industry to work to understand decentralized finance. CFTC Commissioner Christian Johnson, who was nominated on Thursday to become Assistant Secretary for Financial Institutions at the Treasury, has said that CFTC should immediately develop regulations around the custody of assets. So far, these two people have been chosen, are incredible people for the job. There is an immediate path for CFTC to reinforce the protection of customer assets and with segregation and separation of customer property rules. Johnson told the block last year, there are rules that simply say you cannot essentially comment house money and the perpetuity of funds of your customers. Johnson has also previously outlined concerns around decentralized finance and artificial intelligence as well. So, two new people essentially have been chosen by Sleepy Joe Biden, to lead the charge from the FDIC and the Treasury Department. Both are essentially were CFTC commissioners, and both are technically pro-crypto. So this is good to see more pro-crypto people inside of politics, especially in high-power seats. And by the looks of it, Sleepy Joe has once done something good in his life since he became president of the United States, which was choose two members of the CFTC to be in charge of those roles and not members of the SEC. Now, the next news to go from tonight's live show is from Taiwan. Taiwan is establishing its regulations right now to move forward with the crypto space. But before we go through that, let's go inside the comment section first. Hello, Miles of CMF. I hope that you had a good day. Scott, thank you so much. I had a great day, but busy day. Miles, how are your parents? How are you doing today? How was your business today? My day has been okay. My day has been good. I'm doing okay. Let's go, Scott. My parents do very well. Thanks so much for asking, Scott. And my business is going very well as well. Thank you so much for asking, Scott. And your day has been going well. Let's go. So, Taiwan. Taiwan establishes an association to help crypto firms self-regulate. There's some new thing that's going on in Taiwan, which maybe other Asian countries could adapt and follow forward with. A group of cryptocurrency companies has joined a Taiwan-based association to develop self-regulatory standards for the country's digital asset industry. According to the Drex exchange, 24 crypto firms became the founding members of the Taiwan Virtual Asset Service Provider VASP Association today. BitPro founder and CEO Titan Cheng will chair the association, and Trek's chief revenue officer Winston will be the vice chair in Taiwan. The group said it was committed to promoting and facilitating rigorous and fair regulations that help grow the blockchain finance industry globally. In Taiwan right now, it's got to a stage where they're regulating themselves. The exchanges are regulated themselves, and they're okay with it. The Taiwan government is, working alongside them. They're okay with that feature. Obviously, that feature will never work inside the United States because Gary Gensler is, he's a bully. Gary Gensler seems the type that he was bullied in school. Now Gary Gensler's going around bullying people that are more powerful than him. But he is an incompetent fool regarding Gary Gensler. So we will cooperate, this is what they said, we will cooperate with the government, the Ministry of Justice and law enforcement agencies to jointly combat fraud and other criminal activities, said Drex as an association member. The industry will also contribute technology, industrial knowledge, and infrastructure to jointly establish an industrial joint defense platform and design international transfer rules that meet Taiwan's needs regarding their travel rule standards, which is the travel rule has been applied to the United Kingdom, to the EU, to Canada, to Australia, to Japan, Hong Kong, Singapore. The travel rule has pretty much been established everywhere in terms of the crypto space. It's the KYC and AML rule, anti-money laundering essentially. Networks and alliances to create currency flow scanning and tracking technology that is consistent with Taiwan's money laundering and fraud patterns. The formation of the VASP association followed officials of Taiwan's Justice Ministry proposing that the country amend its anti-money laundering AML and regulations for virtual service providers. Under the proposed amendments, these non-compliance could face up to 2 years in prison or fines up to $1.5 million. If you don't do what you're supposed to do in Taiwan in terms of regulations in the crypto space, you will be going to prison for 2 years and facing up to $1.5 million in fines. Taiwan's Financial Supervisory Commission, FSC, also announced plans to introduce new digital asset regulations in September. You see that, Gary Gensler? Even Taiwan is coming up with regulations because Taiwan's Financial Supervisory Commission, their FSC, has realized that crypto's taking off. Maybe we should be introducing some regulations. Gary Gensler, on the other hand, doesn't care. Gary Gensler, in his own opinion, the laws from the 1940s apply to blockchain. And there's nothing wrong with those laws, apparently to Gary Gensler, but even Taiwan's government said, okay, crypto is picking up. We're getting quite a lot of crypto platforms. We're going to be introducing regulations in September. This establishment of association will bring more corporations and consensus to the industry, promote compliance, standardization, and healthy development of the industry. Healthy development of the industry, something that's not happening in the United States in terms of crypto. It's more like hostile. Ensure the safety, transparency, and stability of the industry and enhance the protection of essentially consumer rights, said Hishou Hang, the FSC director, present at the Virtual Asset Service Provider Association announcement on today. Essentially, that was announced. So, Taiwan's government realized that crypto is picking up and regulations need to come through. Their version of the SEC said, no problem. By September, we'll have the regulations ready. Gary Gensler could maybe learn one or two things from Taiwan's government in terms of if something is picking up and it needs help to pick up further because of innovation, it's better for your country. Maybe you should do your job and come out with some regulations instead of just going hostile towards it. The next news to go from tonight's live show is this one. The bill to kill US Federal Reserve was inspired by a Bitcoin book, apparently. We're going to go through that on tonight's live show right now as well. Before we do that, let's go start the comment section first. We were here. Mike, good to see you as well. How you doing, Mike? How you been? Miles, is it true that Sleepy Joe will tax 30% on BTC miners inside the US? Yes. It is true. Joe Biden, Sleazy Joe. Sometimes Joe Biden is Sleepy Joe when he's acting dumb, or he's dumb in reality. And sometimes he's named Sleazy Joe instead of Sleepy. Yes, Sleazy Joe is trying to tax Bitcoin mining institutions 30%. He is trying to, but he hasn't accomplished it yet. G, good to see you. How you doing? Also, it is that Gary Weasel Gensler will delay the S1 until the end of summer for Ethereum ETF approvals. Yes, that is quite interesting that Gary Gensler is going to be delaying the S1 filings until the end of summer, because something else has been announced is going to happen the end of summer as well. And when we get to that news, I'll tell you what it is. At this point, I think Gary Gensler was used to slow XRP down. It's so obvious at this point. It is. It genuinely is. And Gary the Weasel is illiterate. What's up, Miles and family? Gary G is a real piece of work, though. Let's go, Ray. How you doing? How you been, brother? So, bill to kill US Federal Reserve was inspired by a Bitcoin book, apparently. On a podcast that happened today, appearance discussing the bill with author Tom Woods and Messi essentially said that he learned some things after listening to the Bitcoin Standard audiobook by Stefan Amonis, concluding it was way past time to bring back legislations to end the Federal Reserve. The first 80% of it is not about Bitcoin. It's about money. It's about what money is. The congressman explained. He has to lay that down before you can explain what Bitcoin is, because you can't assume that everyone knows what money was. The US Congressman Thomas made waves with the Bitcoiners last month after introducing a bill to abolish the Federal Reserve. As it turns out, that bill was inspired by a famous book about Bitcoin, and it outlined the evils of central banking. The 2018 book proposed that Bitcoin could become the world's most dominant money because of its superior monetary properties, particularly its scarcity, which is enforced by a maximum supply of 21 million coins. Ominous also connects a series of social ills in recent decades to the United States. The abandonment of the gold standard in the 1971, including reduced household savings and inflated housings and asset prices. So apparently the bill that was introduced inside the United States by this congressman, Thomas, essentially, was inspired by a book. The bill that came out and everybody was raving about inside the crypto space, a congressman has came out and said, let's abolish, essentially the Federal Reserve, and he came out with a bill and is, going for votings and so on. But that bill was inspired by a book on Amazon. The congressman also said that the Federal Reserve Board Abolish Act touched on many of the same points, declaring that the retirees see their savings evaporate under the Fed's policies, which benefits the wealthy and connected. The congressman also had co-sponsored a bill with the same name back in 2013, which was originally introduced by the former Libertarian Congressman Ron Paul in 1999. Apparently in 1999, they also wanted to get rid of the Fed, but it never happened. While that bill received minimal support, in 1999, they suggested to get rid of the Federal Reserve. A congressman suggested, let's get rid of the Federal Reserve in 1999, and nobody voted in favor of that. So while that bill received minimal support back then from just two co-sponsors, 11 years ago essentially, Messi condenses that all the Ron Paul's predictions have played out since that time. High inflation, trillions of dollars printed. This is what was suggested back in 1999. In 1999, Ron Paul came out with a study or something, in terms of we should get rid of the Federal Reserve, because he predicted in the future we're going to have trillions of dollars printed, we're going to have a loss of faith in the government institutions and high inflations, is what he predicted back in 1999. And he said, let's get rid of the Federal Reserve before any of that happens. And it turns out he was right. Everything he said happened back to back like clockwork. Completely like clockwork, it just happened back to back. To his surprise, he said that his 2024 bill received 24 co-sponsors, all Republicans. All the Republicans are in favor of getting rid of the Federal Reserve. The online Bitcoin community also gave their unflinching support on his announcements, and he began on essentially an exchange that anonymous on Twitter over how they turned against centralized managements of the economy, both citing economic professors and so on. So the bill that was introduced, roughly about a week or 2 weeks back inside the crypto space to get rid of the Federal Reserve was actually introduced back in 1999, but it was rejected. And back in 1999, it was suggested that if they don't get rid of the Fed back then, in the future, we're going to have trillions of dollars printed out of thin air. The gold standard is pretty much useless, and we're going to be in high inflation, is what they said back then. What he said back then. Nobody listened to him. Fast forward to today, we have crazy inflation. Money printing is out of control. Nothing's pretty much backing it. So everything he said was pretty much right. And nobody listened to him. And the idea got rebooted from a book on Amazon where this congressman came through and said he read this book, an audiobook on Amazon, he listened to it about Bitcoin, and then he came back and said, I'm going to introduce this law again. And this time around, everybody's in favor of it to get rid of the Federal Reserve. Now, interest rates. Interest rate cut explanations from former Fed Vice Chairman. This will happen despite Fed's statement. Now, this perspective is coming from a former Fed Vice Chairman that is giving his perspectives on rate cuts. Alan Blinder, a former Vice Chairman of the Fed and currently a professor at Princeton University, shared his views on the Fed's monetary policy direction for 2024 in a recent interview. Blinder argued that the Fed maintains its tendency to reduce interest rates, that interest rates may be reduced twice this year. Blinder dismissed the idea of the Fed raising interest rates as a fantasy and said it was no longer a possibility. Evaluating the steps taken in the past, Blinder claimed that the Fed was influenced by its previous hesitations and about immediately increasing interest rates, which caused inflation to be higher than expected. This lingering memory continues to influence the Fed's cautious approach, according to Blinder. Looking ahead, Blinder believes that the Fed's next move will indeed be rate cuts. He predicts that there will be 2 interest rate cuts this year, probably in September and December. However, he also raised the possibility of an earlier rate cut at the end of July, stating that it would distance the decision from upcoming elections and reduce the perception of any essentially political influence. Blinder touched on the recent concerns about inflation increases in the first quarter and challenges the current economic models. He noted that these models need fixes, but this complexity involved means it will take time to fix the disruptions of the pandemic situation. Regarding the Fed's dot plot, a tool that visualizes members' interest rate projections, Blinder noted its several benefits. He said the dot plot revealed a close spot within the committee, with some members supporting 1 reduction and others supporting 2, while not strong proponents of the dot plot. Blinder essentially acknowledged that it provides insights into diversity of views within the Feds. So, according to a former Fed Vice Chairman, who is now a university professor in Princeton, 2 rate cuts are expected this year. 2 rate cuts expected this year, and he's saying that because we are coming to the political campaign situation, Joe versus Trump, we might be getting rate cuts even sooner, so the economy looks good going into the, who's going to be the next president, Trump or Sleepy Joe, for example. It's what's happening right now. So in his perspective, they're going to prop up the data. I believe so as well. Whenever it's voting season, the economy props up. So the previous person looks good in the people's eyes. They always prop up the data. So I can see that happening. Because history will always repeat itself. And people never see it coming. That's because people are forgetful. Now, SEC Chairman, Gary Gensler, Weasel Gensler. It doesn't say Weasel Gensler here, but every time I see or hear or read Gary Gensler's name, instantly it's Weasel Gensler. So, SEC Chairman Weasel Gensler signals a potential Ether ETF approval by summer end. Gary Gensler, the SEC Chairman, has indicated that the green light for trading of Ether-based exchange-traded funds may be given by the end of the summer. This projection was made during a recent Summit Banking Committee hearing where the 2025 budget requests for the SEC were being made. Weasel Gensler announcements comes after the approvals were granted to the 8 companies seeking to launch these ETFs on the US exchanges. Once these filings are approved, the new ETFs can be listed, widening the market to include easy-to-trade funds that hold actual Ether, similar to the earlier launch of Bitcoin spot ETFs that hold BTC. Detailed regulatory process and market anticipation. The path to trading involves completing the S1 registration statements, following the earlier approval of the 19B4 filings. The SEC's methodological review aims to ensure that all regulatory requirements are met before the ETFs can commence trading. This process reflects the SEC's commitment to thorough oversight in light of the growing interest in cryptocurrency investment products. Additionally, the SEC cautions yet forward-moving approach is seen in the broader context of its regulatory frameworks, and Tennessee Senator Bill inquired about the full approval of Ether ETFs, highlighting the need for a constructive regulatory environment for the crypto industry. Meanwhile, debates continue over the classification. Ironically, even though they have applied for Ethereum ETFs, and even though the 19B4 filings were approved, mainly because of the pressure of the FIT21 bill at the exact same time, nothing's a coincidence inside the corporate sector. I'm from the corporate sector, and there's no coincidence of anything that happens. Everything's coordinated to happen. Sometimes it's coordinated to happen, and sometimes it's because of political pressure. Gary Gensler approving the 19B4 filings at the exact same time the FIT21 bill was passed was political pressure. Now, interesting enough, regarding the classification of Ethereum, it's still going on, the debates. Meanwhile, the debates continue over the classification of Ethereum with the Commodities Futures Trading Commission regarding it as a commodity. When questioned, especially regarding whether Ethereum is a commodity, Gary Gensler did not react with a yes or a no. Still, till this day, even though Gary Gensler and the SEC essentially have approved the 19B4 filings, when Gary Gensler was asked again at the committee for where the SEC is asking for a bigger budget, is Ethereum, is it a security? Is it a commodity? He didn't want to answer the question. Gensler did not react with a yes or a no, indicating that his agency opinion on that asset remains unknown. At the same hearing, when questioned if it was a commodity, Commodities Futures Trading Commission, CFTC, essentially Rostam Benham, said yes, it's a commodity. Now, expect a timeline and industry impact. Analysts are optimistic yet reserved about the exact timeline, while Gensler remarks suggest approvals could be finalized by late summer. Industry experts like Bloomberg's Eric and ETF analyst James speculate that the actual trading could begin shortly thereafter, possibly by July. This anticipation is set against the backdrop of successful launches of similar products, such as the spot Bitcoin ETFs that began trading earlier this year. Major financial players like BlackRock and Fidelity are among those who are waiting for the green light to be introduced regarding their Ether ETFs, which could potentially transform the landscape of crypto investments in the US. As the SEC continues to navigate these regulatory waters, the crypto community watches hopefully for a positive outcome and could further legitimize and expand cryptocurrency investments within regulated financial markets. So, Weasel Gensler, again, he was, asked at this is the committee that essentially Gary Gensler attended. The committee that he attended was the recent Senate Banking Committee hearing for the 2025 budget request for the SEC. So that's why Gary Gensler was there. He was begging for more money for his agency. An agency, essentially the SEC, that has accomplished nothing. The SEC has accomplished nothing so far. Absolutely nothing. But they were there asking for a bigger budget. For what? We don't know. He's accomplished absolutely nothing. He hasn't essentially been able to take down Binance because the CFTC took down Binance. He wasn't able to take down Debit Box because, well, they lied in court. He wasn't able to take down Ripple because, well, the judge ruled in favor of Ripple. Any other case Gary Gensler essentially went up against, he failed miserably. And in one of them, they lied. And that SEC department that lied closed down. And the 2 lawyers that lied were fired. So what exactly was Gary Gensler asking for a bigger budget on? Nobody knows. Maybe for himself. Maybe Gary Gensler's planning on buying a villa somewhere in Monaco. Nobody knows. But When the CFTC chairman, Rostam Benham, was asked, is Ethereum a security? He said no. They said, Rostam Benham, chairman of the CFTC, is Ethereum a commodity? He said yes. Do you see how easy that is, Gary Gensler? Even though he's essentially approved the 19B4 filings and then the S1 filings, he's going to take his time on the Ethereum situation. Even now, approving the 19B4 filings, he was asked again, is it a security? He didn't answer. But they asked the same question to the CFTC chairman, Rostam Benham. Is it a security? No. Is it a commodity? Yes. Simple. But Gary Gensler was asking for a bigger budget. Nobody knows why. I really don't know. I'm guessing he's planning on buying a new villa, because it can't be for work purposes, the money that the SEC needs. They haven't accomplished anything. Actually, to be fair, the SEC was able to close the Terraform Labs case situation. But to be fair, the Terraform Labs case, the person from Terraform Labs, Do Kwon, wasn't present in the court. So the only case the SEC was able to come to an agreement to and win the case was the only case where the defendant didn't turn up to court, ironically. So the only case the SEC has won so far is the case where the other person didn't turn up to court. So the judge just ruled in favor of the SEC. And they're asking for a bigger budget, ironically. Gary Gensler can't even close a case, but he wants more money. So, I mean, to be fair, at least we know how the SEC can win if the other person doesn't turn up to court. Curve Finance. Curve Finance responds to the $10 million liquidation event that happened. So CRV had some issues today, and massive price drop happened. We're going to go through why that happened. And it essentially goes back to lending and borrowing. Lending and borrowing inside the crypto space is a risky space right now, because the crypto space is not fully regulated. It has some regulations, but it's not fully regulated. And I've said to everyone, if you're ever thinking about lending and borrowing and going to DeFi platforms especially, none of them are regulated and things can go south. Wait for the regulations, and then if you want to lend and borrow against your crypto assets, why not? But definitely wait for the regulations because of what happened to Curve Finance today. But we're going to go through it in about 2 seconds. But before we do that, let's go inside the comment section first. Weasel Gensler, quite right. Let's go by. Hi Miles, why is Kraken so vocal of their support of USDT in Europe and others state USDT will be dumped in the EU? Great question, Happy Pisces. Regarding the EU situation, which is the MIC regulations that are coming out right now, a lot of people are hyping it up and saying the EU is going to be banning everything. It's not true whatsoever. I saw a video that was posted inside a Telegram group on some influencer, crypto influencer on TikTok, created a clickbait video of not what Happy Pisces just said, but relates to it. Of the EU's coming out with regulations and they're banning everything. They're not really banning anything in any sort of a way. The EU is just against one category which is privacy coins, and the second category which is stable coins. The EU is not against all stable coins, but they are against all privacy coins. Regarding stable coins, the EU has a very simple rule. Full transparency. The EU said if you want to operate in the EU as a stable coin, just show full transparency and hold some of your reserve assets in EU banks. So therefore, we can see that if the EU citizens use your stablecoin, you have reserves to back it and nothing goes south. Because if you don't have reserves for your stablecoin and EU citizens, EU banks, EU corporations use your stablecoin and you don't have, reserves to back it and things go south, the EU's economy will go down the toilet. So the EU is not asking for much. They're only asking for transparency. And ironically, the only crypto project within the stablecoin community, which is the number one stablecoin, which is Tether and USDT, rejected it. Tether and USDT pretty much said, no, we don't want to show full transparency. And they're trying to go against the EU for the EU telling them we want transparency. And regarding Kraken, for example, being vocal on supporting USDT, they're only being vocal until the end of the year. Kraken said, because OKX Exchange already delisted USDT for EU citizens. Binance is going to be delisting USDT as well for EU citizens, which is a big market space. Also, Kraken said they're going to be delisting it, but towards the end of the regulations. So the moment all of the regulations are dropped by the end of the year, Kraken is going to be delisting USDT as well. They said they're going to hold USDT in its position as long as they can. But after that, they're dropping it. Because nobody's going to go up against the EU. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again, the last person that went up against the EU inside the crypto space and said no to the EU was CZ from Binance. That was the last person that said no. And look what happened to Binance. CZ, prison. Binance, $4 billion fine. After that, the US pretty much went after them because they were getting too big for their shoes. And again, I have immense amount of respect for CZ. But when the EU said to CZ and Binance, remove privacy coins for EU citizens, Binance said, I'll think about it. CZ basically said, I'll think about it. And it came back and said, nope, everybody deserves a choice of freedom, which I agree with. But you're going up against the EU, which is a losing battle. And obviously after that, Binance $4 billion fine, CZ prison, members going to prison, CEOs changed because they got too big for their shoes. Tether is playing the same tune. So for example, Tether is saying no to the EU. They don't want to show full transparency, and they think they're too big for their own shoes. Somebody will come, mark my words, if Tether starts acting the same way CZ and Binance did, mark my words, Tether will get humbled. If Tether doesn't abide by EU regulations, they will get humbled. The US Treasury is already not in favor of Tether. Circle is pushing with the US Treasury to go after Tether as well. And with Tether coming out at the EU and saying, we don't care about, we don't want to work with you if you don't want to work with us. It's got nothing to do with we don't want to work with you or you don't want to work with us. It's transparency. Show full transparency. It's not asking for much. And Tether is rejecting it. So mark my words, somebody will come along, a government jurisdiction, and they will humble Tether. If Tether doesn't humble by itself. The same way Binance got humbled. And now they have a member of the World Economic Forum CEO for no more Binance, World Economic Forum CEO from the other, for Binance USA, CZ out of the picture essentially, in jail or something, $4 billion fine. Trust me, when you think you're getting too big for your own shoes just because you have money, a lot of people don't understand money is not really the most important factor. Yes, money is good to have. A lot of money is also good to have. But if you're not part of the circle, you're not part of the circle. And they will humble you. So, something's supposed to happen by the end of this month with USDT and Europe. No. Well, this month, we're going to have the MICA regulations coming in. We're going to have the MICA regulations coming in this month. OKX Exchange has already abided and said we've dropped USDT, but they don't have to fully drop it. If they want to become fully compliant, they'll drop it right now, which OKX Exchange has. OKX Exchange said, no problem, we've dropped USDT for EU citizens. A few other exchanges also followed in suit. They dropped USDT as well. Binance said they'll hold it to the last minute. Holding it to the last minute on USDT is about until the end of the year and a little bit into the beginning of the year, unless the regulations for the EU come closer, which means by the end of the year, USDT will be dropped in the EU. So Binance and Kraken are going to hold out until the end of the year because they can, based on the timeline of the MICA regulations. They can even hold on until the first month or second month or third month of next year as well. But unless the regulations come faster, then they can't. So no, they don't have to drop it by the end of this month. They can. OKX Exchange did, just to become compliant starting now. But they have time until the end of the year. And a little bit beginning of next year as well. Unless the regulations come sooner, then no. At the end of the year, they have to drop it. Or Tether becomes compliant and shows transparency. But I think the reason why Tether doesn't want to show transparency is because they can't. Because Tether, just like the US, like the Federal Reserve, prints money out of thin air. Tether printed $1 billion. And when Tether was asked, why did you print $1 billion? Tether said, essentially, we printed it for a rainy day. It's a couple of lines of code and press enter. If you are expecting a rainy day, print it on the rainy day. But Tether said, we printed it and we kept it on the sidelines for a rainy day. Makes no sense. It's not like, they're actually physically printing money. It's a few lines of code and you press enter. You can print it on that rainy day whenever it comes around. So I think the reason why Tether doesn't want to become compliant with the EU is because they can't, and they know that, by showing transparency. Otherwise, what's stopping you? USDC said, no problem, we'll show transparency. You see where I'm going with this? USDC has no issues. They said, you want transparency, EU? No problem. We'll keep our reserves in your banks as well. No issues. Tether said no. That doesn't add up. You're definitely hiding something. Otherwise, why? Why would you lose out on one of the biggest market spaces out there in the world? When your competitors have no issues showing transparency, USDC. So that is extremely odd. No, they have time basically until end. What will happen to majority of futures trading if USDT is dropped? Well, futures trading in the EU is going to get very difficult. Some exchanges will let you. As I said, they don't have to drop it by the end of this month. Some have. Some exchanges have dropped it. OKX exchange and so on. They have already dropped USDT because for the EU markets only. This is not worldwide. This is only EU citizens, but it could become worldwide. It's starting with the EU, which is one of the biggest markets around the world. One of them. So they don't have to drop it by the end of this month, but they can to become compliant right now. But they have until the end of the year and a little bit into next year as well. In regard to futures trading, so they can still continue on some exchanges, but they'll probably become USDC trading. So if not Tether, then what do we use? USDC? Yep. Well, no, you and Scott, it doesn't apply to you because you're not in the EU. If you're not in the EU, this only applies to EU citizens. It doesn't really matter because when Ripple comes out with their stablecoin, I think it's going to be a number one or at least close. I believe so as well. Ripple's stablecoin will obviously be compliant with EU regulations, and USDC is not strong enough. USDC is not strong enough because they depegged once, and that's too much already. Depegging is the biggest issue of stablecoins, and if it happens once, it could happen again. Tether has transparency issues where they can't show their reserves, so we do need another stablecoin that could take the crown. Tether's not good for the job because they have transparency issues, and USDC already depegged once. So that's not good for the job either. And it took them a week to repeg essentially perfectly. That's even worse. So we do need a stablecoin that is rigorous, that can show full transparency, and has backings. And I do believe that Ripple was launching pretty much perfect timing this year and taking the crown as number one. They will take it as number one. Ripple said they will show essentially their monthly reserves for their stablecoin every month. Every month, Ripple will show their reserves backing their stablecoin. And it will never depeg. So Tether's basically dodgy. Tether is just dodgy. And the other one, a USDC, depegged once. So we do need actually, in reality, we do need a stablecoin that we can trust. And stablecoins play a massive role inside the crypto space. A massive role stablecoins play. And as much as everybody, as much as a lot of people hate Ripple in this crypto space, which makes no sense to me. You should never mix emotions with market space. But as much as people want to hate on Ripple, you know for a fact Ripple has money. As much as you want to hate on Ripple, you know for a fact that Ripple has money, contracts, and licensing and powerful people behind them. And you know for a fact if Ripple comes out with a stablecoin, it's going to stay backing it's going to have reserves backing it. It's never going to go, essentially and depeg. You know for a fact nothing's going to happen to Ripple stablecoin. It's going to be stable as F. So as much as people want to hate on Ripple and so on, but you know for a fact when Ripple comes out with a stablecoin, they have enough amount of money to back it. They have the contracts, the licenses, and everything to come with it. So we do need a stablecoin that is going to be staying atop, afloat, for example. But yeah, so how does that? Hey, Vowels, the Black Swan could mean Tether falling apart. I mean, that would be a big Black Swan event if Tether ever did fall apart. But that'd be one massive discount inside the crypto space. Just think about it for a second. The panic just within that is going to be crazy, the discounts inside the crypto space. But Brad, Tether, essentially Brad, Ripple's founder, essentially said that when Brad was asked from Ripple, is there going to be a Black Swan event? He said yes. Confidently, he said 100%. He said, do you expect a Black Swan? He said yes. He didn't even hesitate. He didn't think about the question. He just immediately said yes. When he was asked, is there going to be a Black Swan event? And this is coming from, Ripple. So that's a bold statement, essentially. And at the same interview, when he was asked about stablecoins, he said that Tether is being looked into. Interesting enough. In the same interview, Brad from Ripple said, yes, there's going to be a Black Swan event. And in the same interview, he was asked about stablecoins, and he said that Tether has been looked into. And Tether's CEO essentially came out and said, how can Ripple and Brad say this about us? They're slandering Tether and so on and so on. But Tether is slandering themselves when they went against the EU. And interesting enough, do you want to know something else inside the corporate sector? A lot of people aren't from the corporate sector, so they don't understand corporate pressure. Let me give it to you very simple. When USDC was operating around Tether, Tether didn't care. We have hundreds of different types of stablecoins inside the crypto space. And Tether never spoke about any of them once because they were never a threat to Tether and USDT. Not a single stablecoin was ever a threat to Tether and USDT. So we had all the time we have new stablecoins coming up. We have FDUSD. It came out of Hong Kong. Did Tether CEO speak about that? No. We had so many different types of stablecoins, and Tether CEO has never spoken about any of them. Interesting enough, when Ripple announced a stablecoin coming out, the first time Ripple announced a stablecoin coming out, Tether's CEO, essentially, not Tether's CEO, but Tether's financial advisor came out and said, there is only one stablecoin, and we all know which one that is, the crown, the king of stablecoins, USDT. I made a tweet about it, actually. Tether's CEO and Tether's financial advisors have never seen a threat ever from any stablecoin that's been released. But when Ripple announced their stablecoin coming out, Tether's financial advisor came out and said, there's always been one stablecoin, and we're the king of stablecoins, and this is the crown, we're taking it, and so on. That is a sign of weakness. They've shown that they are weak, and they are threatened by the idea that Ripple is coming out with a stablecoin. Because FDUSD came out, not a peep came out of them. Multiple stablecoins have came out. Not a peep has came out of USDT and Tether. The moment Ripple announced they're coming out of a stablecoin, their financial advisor comes out on X. Oh, there's only one stablecoin. We're the king of stablecoins. We have the crown of stablecoins. That's a sign of weakness. You're just showing that you're threatened by the idea of even Ripple coming out of a stablecoin. That is a sign of weakness. That is corporate pressure, is what I was talking about. That you're done for. I retweeted that tweet that Tether's financial advisor did, and I put a comment on top. Or is RL stablecoin just for corporate liquidity? No, it's for all types, retail and corporate. XRP, not a stablecoin, but yeah, I know what you mean. It's not a stablecoin. The best chain to build on, yep. It's a mistake to underestimate the XRP ledger. It definitely is, yes. All of those things possibly happening to Ripple will cause XRP to blast off to the moon and stay in the atmosphere. Let's go, Scott. I'm Brad, and Brad knows that timing is everything. Yes, that's true. And he opened up a lot in that interview. It was great to see it. Yes, he definitely did. Tether responded because Ripple is legit and their stablecoin will be legit. Facts. Let's go vibe. Stablecoin DJet is over collateralized with with any type of asset by 400 to 800%, and 2000% would be far superior for safety and consumer protections. Let's go, Leroy, with the stats. So, the next news to go for on tonight's live show is from Tim Ryan. Apologies about that. So if you're wondering who Tim Ryan is a former Democratic representative. So, Tim Ryan, he said crypto is gaining popularity among Democrats, and Gary Gensler will be gone soon, he said. Former Democratic Representative Tim Ryan believes crypto is gaining popularity in the Democratic Party. With crypto gaining popularity as a political issue in the United States, it is no surprise that the Democrats are starting to embrace the crypto industry. This is not suitable for embrace was evident. The United States House of Representatives approved a bill, FIT 21, that was recently passed by a majority of 279 votes to 136, pushing it to the Senate. 71 Democrats voted in favor of that bill. So you can definitely see the Democrats are coming in favor of crypto. Tim Ryan, a former Democratic representative from Ohio, told MarketWatch that the increasing backing for cryptocurrency regulations suggests that his Democratic colleagues are now taking a more active interest in crypto rather than relying on the Biden administration and financial regulators. In other words, Democrats are taking things into their own hands and saying, who cares about Gary Gensler or Bidenomics, if that ever made any sort of sense. It was the dumbest idea that Biden ever came out with was Bidenomics. Inflation is crazy, rent is through the roof, mortgages are through the roof, gas and petrol are through the roof. Where's the Bidenomics in that? But going back to this, Gary Gensler, Biden was essentially appointed by Gary Gensler. Biden appointed Gary Gensler, the chairman of the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, has vocally expressed skepticism towards crypto regulations. He even came out forcefully against the FIT 21 bill after it was passed in the House. Industry lobbyists claim that Industry lobbyists claim that Gensler influences Democrat lawmakers as they are often relying on regulators appointed by their own party for expertise on complex topics such as financial regulations. Ryan alluded that this and Gensler's stance towards crypto emphasizing Congress' crucial responsibility in shaping the nation's direction towards crypto. Gensler will be gone in a year or two, and those members of Congress charged with constitutional obligation to set the direction of the country for the next decade or two, Ryan said. Gensler is expected to conclude his tenure as the head of the SEC in June 2026, is when he's supposed to be, leaving when it comes to Gary Gensler on paper. He's crypto apologist. This sentiment signals a shift in the Democratic Party as crypto enthusiasts recognize President Biden's reversed stance towards crypto, especially after the president announced plans to receive campaign donations in crypto. Yes, apparently, Sleazy Joe or Sleepy Joe wants your crypto money now as donations. The man that's been pretty much against crypto has the audacity to ask for crypto donations. Just think about it for a second. A man that is fully in favor of the Gary Gensler SEC, that's been hostile towards the entire crypto space. This man, who's put Gary Gensler in charge to be hostile towards the crypto space and stands behind Gary Gensler no matter what, has the audacity right now to ask for crypto donations. Joe Biden is going to be asking for crypto donations. The same man that's been hostile towards the crypto space with Gary Gensler. How much of a two-faced twat could you possibly be to be doing that? This sentiment signals a shift in the Democratic Party as crypto enthusiasts recognize President Joe Biden's reverse stance towards crypto, especially after the president announced plans to receive campaign donations in crypto. Dan, the founder of Crypto Capital Ventures, said on X, so the Biden administration and the SEC spent years trying to crush crypto and even sue Coinbase, but now they're scrambling to set up crypto donations through Coinbase. Former president, Republican nominee Donald Trump is once again being vocal about his support essentially for crypto. He has deemed himself a crypto president regarding Trump, while calling for a better domestic BTC mining practices and readily using crypto in his financial endeavors. Republicans, led by people like Trump, have increasingly embraced crypto. They advocate for a system inside the United States that embraces crypto and positions the US as a leader in the crypto economy. Despite a somewhat embrace of crypto, the challenging political nature of crypto endorsements seems to pressure the Democrats to embrace it. Democrats face increasing demands to stay ahead, essentially to regulate the industry. So, Sleazy Joe, after all this time of being against the crypto space, after all this time for being with Weasel Gensler, Gary Gensler, SEC, and going against the crypto space, suing the crypto space into the ground, stifling innovation, now this man is going to be coming out and asking for crypto donations. Let me just put it to you like this. The moment Joe Biden, being very honest here, the moment Joe Biden announces he's going to be accepting crypto donations, any single person sends even a single penny, a single cent, or a single dollar to Joe Biden as a crypto donation is an absolute moron. There's no way around it. Because this man has been stifling your crypto innovation inside the United States. And if you go to donate to this man for his crypto donations campaign, the same man that stifled innovation inside the United States, used Gary Gensler to go hostile towards every crypto project there is out there and every crypto platform there is out there. If you donate to this man, you're an absolute moron and an absolute tool. There's no way around it. Now, Terraform Labs is the next news to go from tonight's live show. But before we do that, let's go inside the comment section first. Stablecoin, yep. Tether has money set aside for economic collapse for self-sustaining resources. I wish they would invest in Entertai, a free energy generator using energy to counter impact with any type of water. President Elizabeth Warren needs to be removed. Otherwise, self-custody of crypto wallets will be illegal. Yes, Elizabeth Warren needs to be removed as well. God knows how long she's lasted. The nerve, they treat us like we stupid. They don't want us to have crypto, but now they want us to donate some of their campaign. Honestly, Miles, how do you feel about Joe Biden, law? Honestly, I could already picture it as well right now. You know, Joe Biden's going to come out with his crypto donations and then people are going to donate to him. What kind of an idiot will donate to that man? To be fairly honest, this guy stifled your innovation inside your own country and you're going to donate to him in crypto? You must have zero brain cells. Or share the exact same brain cells with a goldfish if you go and donate to a man that was stomping on your crypto dreams. Inside your own country, you honestly must share the exact same brain cells with a goldfish. Now, Terraform Labs. Good evening, Miles and all CMF. Iman, good to see you. How you doing? How's everyone doing today? I'm doing great. How you doing, Iman? How you been? The same ones that are going to vote for, Stormy, let's go. Now, Terraform Labs. Terraform Labs, Mulling shut down post-SEC settlement. Terraform Labs plans to shut down its operations following a settlement with the US Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC. The only case the SEC was able to win and come to a settlement with was the only case where Do Kwon didn't turn up to court. This is the big bad SEC, the one that bullies everyone inside the crypto space, but is unable to close a case, just stifle operations. The only case they were ever able to close, a big case for themselves, was the only case where the defendant couldn't turn up to court. So the court obviously ruled in favor of the SEC. But something interesting out of this case, which is what Terraform Labs is going to be doing. So there could be potential for some earnings here. Terraform Labs plans to shut down its operations following a settlement with the US Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC. According to a post on X, CEO Chris announced that the firm plans to dissolve, selling off its projects within the Terra ecosystem, including Pulsar Finance, Station Wallet, and Expertise DAO. Terraform Labs prepares a community proposal. This decision comes after a tumultuous period for Terraform Labs, marked by regulatory scrutiny and market challenges. Despite the company's dissolution, Chris has emphasized that the Terra and Terra Classic blockchains have the potential to continue under community control, because Terraform Labs is now going to step back, and the community is going to be the one that carries on Luna and essentially Luna C. But it gets a little bit interesting. This suggests that while Terraform Labs will no longer be at the helm, or the underlying technology and its associated projects could thrive if the community takes the reins. Additionally, the company is preparing a community proposal that all uninvested Luna, the native token of Terraform Labs essentially, Chris stated that any remaining tokens vested in wallets will be burned by Terraform Labs. So, Terraform Labs is going to be closing down their operations. For Luna, essentially for Luna C, they closed down quite a long time ago, but for Luna, they're going to be closing it down as well. They actually came to a settlement with the SEC. They're going to pay the settlement fines to the SEC. But not only that, Terraform Labs is going to be burning their own tokens of Luna and any other tokens that they have, for example, Luna C. They're going to be burning them. So is this going to be benefiting Luna and Luna C? And Terraform Labs said, we're going to leave the ecosystem of Luna or Terraform Labs in the hands of the community. And we are going to be burning our own tokens. So I don't know exactly on the dot how many tokens Terraform Labs holds of Luna and Luna C. But if they're going to be burning it, and if it is a substantial amount, that could be good. That could be good on many aspects if you're futures trading on it, if you're potentially, essentially, or if you're a spot trader, or if you're just holding it for long-term purposes and the community continues on forward. I don't know the exact amount they're holding. If it is a substantial amount, this could benefit quite a lot because they're burning their own tokens. This move underscores the broader trend of regulatory pressure shaping the crypto industry landscape. As Terraform Labs prepares to close this chapter, the future of Terra and Terra Classic lies in the hands of its own community, presenting a new era of decentralized management and potential growth for the ecosystem. SEC seeks billions in penalties from Terraform Labs. In April, the US SEC filed a motion requesting billions of dollars in a civil and penalties against Terraform Labs and its founder Do Kwon, following a verdict in a civil case. In the filings, the United States District of Courts for Southern District of New York, the SEC requested approximately $4.7 billion in a prejudgment interest after the civil case ruling, along with a combined $520 million in civil penalties and $420 million from Terraform and $100 million from Do Kwon. In addition to the monetary judgment, the SEC was proposed to bar Do Kwon from serving as an officer or director or a securities issuer and providing complete details of his accounts and assets. Terraform would also face a conduct-based injunction to prevent engaging in behavior similar to the fraud that occurred. However, the proposed remedies and civil judgments are pending approval by the judge. Terraform Labs filed already for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, so they're already getting ready. Terraform Labs is already getting ready for complete bankruptcy, and they're going to be burning their own tokens, Luna and Luna C, of whatever they hold. They're not going to be selling them on the market or dumping on the market. They're going to be burning them. Recall the disgraced crypto entrepreneur Do Kwon and his firm were held responsible for now the defunct stablecoin Terra USD collapse that happened, essentially causing the turbulence inside the crypto markets. To everyone's surprise, the firm filed for bankruptcy protection in the United States earlier this year. The bankruptcy was filed 4 days after the US SEC agreed to postpone Do Kwon's upcoming trial in February 2023. The two parties were accused of running a multi-billion-dollar cryptocurrency fraud involving USD and Terra Luna. This could do well. If you're a type of person that's holding essentially Luna or Luna C, depending on how much Terraform Labs and Do Kwon are actually holding in terms of Luna and Luna C, and they're going to be burning them based on their own documents, if they're holding a substantial amount, this could be very good. It could play out very good. So, there's something to keep in the back of your mind. Now, the next news to talk about on tonight's live show is essentially about meme coins. Not only is it about meme coins, but it's about Mike Novoscott, the billionaire Mike Novoscott. Essentially the Galaxy Digital CEO, the same company that has a Bitcoin ETF and an Ethereum ETF on the way. This company is now talking about meme coins. Their CEO is the billionaire CEO. And essentially, Galaxy Digital CEO believes that meme coins have more to offer than laughs. Meme coins, often inspired by internet jokes or cultural phenomenon, have been dismissed by many industry experts for their perceived lack of utility. However, Galaxy Digital CEO Mike Novoscott believes that these meme coin tokens have a strong narrative that captures investor attention and beyond just humor. Meme coins, whether you're a fan or not, have become a cornerstone of the crypto economy. In today's market, they're one of the most powerful narratives out there for the retail section. He said, he didn't say the retail section, but it is for the retail section. Mike Novoscott, in a recent post on X, adding that meme coins or permissionless blockchains have combined market capitalization exceeding $60 billion altogether. All meme coins together, about $60 billion is what we're looking at. In an accompanying video, Mike Novoscott also outlined two potential ways to profit from meme coins. This billionaire right now, Mike Novoscott, CEO of Galaxy Digital, is telling people how to take profits from meme coins. One is to pick memes with humor, and the second is to make memes. He suggests that successful investors need a quirky freaking sense of humor to predict which memes will resonate with people, become successful investments, and so on. The second way is for a meme coin creators. Mike Novoscott said that meme coin creators could make great profits by launching their own meme coins. He also mentioned his son-in-law success with Dog with Hat and Dodge. Mike Novoscott, the billionaire, his son-in-law, was a part of Dog with Hat and made some money on Dodge. And therefore Mike Novoscott said, maybe meme coins aren't that bad. Initially skeptical of meme coin investing, Mike Novoscott said he was surprised at his son-in-law's success by simply holding these meme coins, suggesting that a well-crafted meme can translate into financial gain. He said, Dog with Hat, the first time you see it, you just laugh. Then, now it's worth $3 billion, he said. Mike Novoscott's bullish stance on meme coins face industry pushback. Commenting on Mike Novoscott's post, Charlie Silver, CEO of Permission.io, said that meme coins are just silly casino chips, which is basically what they are. Silver believes the true foundation of crypto economy is yet to be built, which is true in some sort of sense, but not really, because utility is going in progress. Mike Novoscott's statements come aimed at the ongoing controversy surrounding celebrity meme coins. Many crypto figures have publicly shared their opinions about the movement. Yes, right now, celebrity crypto projects are a big issue inside the crypto space, and there was only one man that kept on building these celebrity tokens and so on. By the way, the next news we're going to cover on tonight's live show is regarding China and CBDCs. Actually, a funny story regarding China and CBDCs is the next news we're going to talk about tonight's live show. But what Mike Novoscott said, he missed out a few major points, which the other person, Permission.io CEO, talked about, which is that meme coins are like casino chips, because it is. A lot of people say the entire crypto space is a gamble, which is true up to a certain extent. There are a lot of projects out there that to me don't seem like a gamble. Why? Because I'm basing my whatever I choose to hold on contracts, actual PDF documentations of contracts and developments with established organizations or banks or government organizations. So that's how I choose my long holds in crypto projects. And I don't see those as gambles at all. Now, the rest of the crypto space, which is the meme coin category, are all pure gamble. And the number one thing everybody forgets to mention when it comes to meme coins is that 99% of them will go down. And every time you hear any sort of news about meme coins, it's always this guy put $1,000 and he made $10 million in the meme coin space. But nobody talks about the other, 100,000 people behind him that also put the same amount of money roughly or so on and didn't get that money. Because why? There was not enough liquidity. Meme coins have major issues where nobody talks about them. Look, if you are in a meme coin, I hope you make a lot of money for yourself. I hope you make exceptional amount of money for yourself and you do incredibly well in life. But don't listen to people who would say, even though Mike Novoscorp is an intelligent man, wealthy man, sometimes intelligent and wealthy people also make mistakes on what they say. An example of that is Michael Saylor. See, Michael Saylor is also an intelligent and wealthy man, but he's wrong sometimes. Once he was wrong when he said Bitcoin is the only ETF. When I shared that news on this live show, I said that Mike Saylor is an incredibly intelligent man and incredibly wealthy man, but this time he's wrong. When Michael Saylor said Bitcoin is the only ETF, and then about a week later we had Ethereum ETFs. And I would say this time around, Mike Novoscott, CEO of Galaxy Digital, incredibly wealthy man, incredibly intelligent man, but this time he's also wrong too. And that it is pure gamble and it is pure luck. But I hope everybody that's inside of essentially, any sort of meme coins, I hope you make a lot of money for yourself. I hope you do incredibly well for yourselves. But please understand that it always essentially all high risk and high reward. And you are just in a casino at that point. And don't get attached to meme coins is the number one thing you should ever do. Don't ever bring emotions into it, especially not around meme coins. Do not bring emotions into your meme coins and think, I can squeeze more out of this meme coin. It's a meme coin. You are lucky enough to squeeze that much of whatever you squeezed out of it in terms of percentage. So always understand that. But yeah, nobody talks about the other 1,000 people that didn't make it in that same meme coin, but everybody talks about the one guy that did make it in that meme coin. And they have many issues in terms of liquidity. Liquidity is the number one issue of meme coins. The majority of them do not have the liquidity for you to cash out. So please be careful. But I hope you make an incredible amount of money for yourself. Now, let's go back to this. Can I donate pump and dump cryptos to Sleepy Joe? Can I donate pump and dump cryptos to Sleepy Joe? Let's go, Chosen. Story out. Regarding my numbers score, Biden could be planning a major power move to take credit for cryptocurrencies or positive regulations. He could do, yes, Leroy. True. Simon, man, I thought I found the gem on base chain. These guys sniped the coin and held 20%. It flew to around 30M. I got 80x totally, but didn't sell because it had potential, but the devs rocked it. It was Bolt, Brett's dog. In the end, managed to get out in profit still. Well, that's good to hear. I switched my BTC into LTC. What do you think about that? Your BTC into LTC? Why not? If you want to do that. Odd move on why you would change your BTC to LTC. Very odd move. But why not if you want to do that? But yeah, never get attached to meme coins. As I was saying, never get attached to meme coins. And Simone essentially sharing the story of, he got or she got, someone got attached to a meme coin where he could have sold on profits, but he thought maybe I can squeeze more out of it. He got 80%. He made 80x. Essentially, no, he made 80x on his money. 80x. And he thought I can squeeze maybe more out of it, which ultimately led to him going, it's a meme coin. If you can squeeze 20x out of it, good, jump out. If you can squeeze 80, 100, jump out. That's good. It's a meme coin. Don't get attached to it. Because in about 5 seconds, there'll be another one. No, genuinely, there'll be another one in 5 seconds. Now, here's a funny story regarding CBDCs. A lot of people seems like don't understand how CBDCs actually work, because you can't essentially launder money essentially in CBDCs. It's impossible to launder money in CBDCs. The whole point of going into a CBDC world is that governments have control over your money because they're programmable. CBDCs are programmable. Governments can freeze, seize, something that happens in traditional finance and bankings. When the Canadians protested, the lorry drivers, the Canadian government froze their bank accounts. So freezing and seizing is something that happens in traditional finance, but also can happen on CBDCs a lot more easier. But CBDCs, they can freeze, seize, and put expiry dates in China. And they can happen on all types of CBDCs as well. But there was actually a group of people who decided to use Chinese yuan CBDCs for money laundering. A token that is fully tracked by the Chinese government. These morons decided to use the Chinese CBDC for money laundering. How does that even make sense? They must be the most thickest criminals on planet Earth. Genuinely, this group, apparently the members of the gang pretty much share one brain cell between them. That they thought, yeah, we can use the Chinese CBDC to launder money. So Chinese courts sentence a gang for money laundering using digital yuan. A court in China has sentenced members of a gang to a prison and the payment of fines for money laundering using the yuan's central bank digital currency. How much of an idiot do you have to be to think, yes, I can use a CBDC for money laundering, a coin that is 100% tracked by the government for every angle, for every aspect? They thought, yes, we can use this. According to China's own local press, the People's District of Shangying City, the Zhejiang province, sentenced 3 people to prison in terms of ranging from 7 to 16 months for money laundering activities. The date of the trial was not given yet. The gang members were identified only by their family names. They laundered about 200,000 yuan. And if you think they made a lot of money probably, before they got caught. No, because it's a CBDC, actually quite early on they got caught. They were only able to launder $27,580, $27,580 before the alarms start going off because it's a CBDC. In a digital form over 4 days. It took them 4 days to figure out their money laundering on CBDCs. In mid-September in Shanghai, the Chinese business website MyPass reported a 4-person was arrested, but their fate was not specified. Yuan, who has come to Shanghai essentially in an unsuccessful attempt to find employment, saw an advertisement in his hotel offering a 0.8% commission to people who could cash out digital yuan with local merchants. After several solo operations, he recruited his girlfriend, Zhang, and their friend Ku to assist him in money laundering on CBDCs. CBDC privacy exploited. The gang offered merchants in Shanghai and Jining and Hezing and other places a commission of 1% to 1.5% to receive digital yuan from their superiors and change it into cash, which didn't obviously go too well. The gang used overseas niche chat tools to communicate with their superiors and received a 0.5% commission. The publication said that the digital RMW yuan payment transactions are highly private and overseas fraud gangs take advantage of this feature. Not many stores accept the digital yuan, MyPass continued. Public security organizations received a report by the digital yuan flows among merchants and quickly appeared the gang's members. The digital yuan offers controllable autonomy as necessary for crime prevention, according to the current and former People's Bank of China officials. That phrase was used in the press report as well. The government basically said to these morons that you do realize the CBDC can be tracked. which is why it took us 4 days to realize you were using Chinese yuan CBDCs for money laundering, and you were only able to launder $27,000 before we realized it. Digital yuan crime, rare, but not unknown. So if you're thinking these people must be the only morons doing this, and no one else has ever tried to, CBDC launder money, well, reports of fraud using the digital yuan are rare. In January, the website CN Stock, which refers to itself as China's capital market legal information disclosures platform, reported on a similar case in Shanghai that occurred back in May 2023. It was described as the first of its kind in that city. 8 people, including merchants, were convicted and received sentencings of between 4 and 54 months in prison plus fines in Shanghai case. They laundered a total of $1.3 million, some of which came from telecommunication network fraud. The ability to use phone numbers alone to open digital yuan accounts was crucial in the implementation of that scheme. The illicit activities were uncovered after bank staff reported them. So, some people in China decided to launder CBDCs using the Chinese yuan back in 2023 by opening up multiple phone numbers and opening up wallets and getting money from the government, which ended up going south because of CBDC. And then recently, 4 morons, a man, his girlfriend, his brother, and a friend, essentially, decided to launder CBDC money. I mean, when you think, this world, maybe the people are getting, intelligent in this world. You think to yourself, maybe people are starting to wake up, in this world. Maybe still some people are starting to get some intelligence, some knowledge coming in. And then you read news like this where people try to launder money in CBDCs, a central bank digital currency, fully controllable by the central bank. What absolute morons. Now, the EU elections is coming up, which is a big factor inside the crypto space. Okay, the EU elections are coming up, and how is this going to be setting the shape for the future of crypto and blockchain in terms of regulations in the EU, which we're going to go through it in about 1 second. Before we do that, let's inside the comment section first. I wouldn't squeeze more, but these ruggers are crazy. Yes, I mean it. It was Brett's dog. Big potential community was crazy. By the way, I swapped my BTC to LTC because if you check the BTC/LTC chart, it looks like this bottom. I think we might see stronger LTC over BTC in the altcoin season coming soon. That's why you did it, Simon. Okay. For more money laundering kids, I will drop the money laundering charges and fine them 10 million for stupidity. Fine. That's actually not a bad idea. What Happy Pisces suggested. Fine them for a stupidity fine. I think that's definitely needed in this world. It would help a lot more people maybe pick up a book once in a while and educate themselves. Because if you're going to use CBDCs for laundering, at least understand what CBDCs are and why the government was able to find you in 4 days when you started laundering CBDCs. Now, because they're not the most brightest criminals, to be fair, EU elections, which is honestly facts, what Happy Pisces said, a stupidity fine. Now, EU elections. EU elections results set to shape future of crypto and blockchain regulations. From June 6th to the 9th, over 185 million citizens from the European Union's 27 member states voted for candidates to serve a 5-year term in the European Parliament, the legislative branch of the political bloc. This pivotal event will shape the political direction of the EU for the next 5 years, including the future of crypto and blockchain in the EU. The election results are mixed. The Christian Democrats won 10 seats, the Social Democrats lost only 4 seats, and the pro-business Renew Europe group lost 23 seats. The Greens lost 18 seats, while the far-right parties made notable gains. Cointelegraph reviewed the election manifesto of various parties and interviewed members of the European Parliament about their plans for crypto and blockchain industry and beyond. The EPP group, the largest and one of the most influential political groups in the European Parliament, holds a cautious yet forward-looking stance on cryptocurrencies, the digital euro, and blockchain technology. So one group so far that's been chosen for the EU for the next 5 years is good for the crypto space. The MEP Stefan Berger stated, Crypto assets are gaining importance and have their place as a complement to the traditional financial system. So this person is also good for the crypto space. The person has been chosen for the next 5 years in the EU. The EPP supports the current MiCA regulation law that's coming out, but sees the potential for future adjustments and legal frameworks for NFTs. So that group is also good. So far, it's all been good inside the crypto space, in favor of the crypto space for the EU markets, which is a big market. The S&D group is cautiously optimistic about blockchain and cryptocurrencies, recognizing their potential benefits, but emphasizing the need for strict regulations to prevent fraud, money laundering, and tax evasion. That seems also good as well, making the crypto space a much more mature place. Good. They support the idea of digital euro for increasing the effectiveness of monetary policy and consumer protection. Renew Europe, a centric and liberal political group, has been a prominent voice in the European debate on crypto. The group supports a robust regulatory framework for crypto assets and views blockchain technology as a key driver for transparency, efficiency, and growth. Renew Europe champions a digital euro and a European digital identity, social credit systems, to enhance trust in digital transactions and streamline administrative processes. So this particular group is in the Renew Europe, is what they're called, that have been chosen for the next 5 years pretty much in the EU. They are in favor of the EU CBDC, the EU stablecoin, and the EU identity, essentially digital identity, which is their social credit system coming out. The ECR group holds a pragmatic and cautious view on cryptocurrencies, advocating for robust anti-money laundering measures and stringent cybersecurity measures. They are skeptical about the digital euro, viewing it as unnecessary given existing solutions like instant payments. So this particular group says we don't really need a CBDC in EU, and they have been chosen as well for the next 5 years. The ID group does not have an official stance on digital currencies and blockchain. So this particular group, when it was asked the question of what do you think about cryptocurrencies and blockchain future in the EU, no response. However, member parties such as Germany Alternative for Germany AFD oppose a digital euro, fearing it could undermine use of cash and individual privacy. If you're hearing that weird, oddly noise right now, it's most likely a fox. And because my window is open. So, however, member parties such as Germany Alternative for Germany AFD oppose a digital euro, fearing it could undermine the use of cash and individual privacy. The Greens/EFA group acknowledges the potential of blockchain and for enhancing transparency and sustainability, but is concerned about the environmental impact of certain cryptocurrencies. So the Greens Party is okay for cryptocurrencies, but they want it to be more crypto friendly in terms of renewable energy and so on. The Green Party is always the one that's living in la la land. You know, the Green Party is always no more oil and so on. But the Green Party doesn't realize that the car they drive to their organizations, it needs, oil. The tires that they have on their vehicles, oil. The clothes that they're wearing, oil. The toothbrush that they're using at home, oil. Everything they have around them is pretty much has elements of oil. The Green Party obviously does not understand that part in any sort of a way. If they did, they wouldn't be this thick. But that's the Green Party. They support exploring digital. They also support the idea of exploring a digital euro that aligns with sustainability goals and social welfare. The left is critical of cryptocurrencies, expressing concerns over their potential to facilitate illicit activities and economic inequalities. This is what the leftist opinions is. They support a digital euro designed to enhance public control over monetary systems and promote economic justice. So they're in favor of control, just not in favor of cryptocurrencies. Volt Europe, a pro-European federalist party, advocates for protecting users' digital rights while ensuring compliance with financial regulations. They support a digital euro and harmonized European investment regulations. The European Christian Political Movement, the ECPM, supports technological progress as long as it does not threaten human digital fundamental rights or the environment. The newly elected European Parliament will significantly influence the future of cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology in the EU. Each political group has a different perspective, leading to expected debates and potential adjustments to the frameworks like the MICA. So the MICA is obviously going to be edited once all of these groups of people and organizations are sitting next to each other. We're going to probably see the MICA adjusted throughout this year. However, their deadlines are still remaining the same, which is end of this month. Some of the rules come out towards the end of the year, the rest of the rules come out, and so on. But they're going to be most likely adding or removing. But here's the thing, regarding the regulations, the politicians really don't have a voice. Who does have a voice is the Bank of International Settlements. The Bank of International Settlements, essentially being in control of the banks of all central banks. 60 centralized banks are under it, including G20 countries, which is the EU basically. They're the ones with a voice. They're the ones, putting these documents forward for these politicians just to put their names on them. So if the document is correct, according to the Bank of International Settlements, then it's correct. Now, here is also another funny story about the crypto space. A crypto platform that was hacked twice in about a space of a week. Once, this lending platform inside the DeFi space was hacked for $20 million. And in the same week, it was also hacked again for $5 million by the same person. But this platform doesn't know who this person is or who this hacker is. So, not only that, but it's got to a stage where now they're offering, the second time they got hacked was for $3.7 million. The first time, $20 million. And they don't know who this person is that keeps on coming back to hack the same platform. So UWU Lend is offering, no word of a lie, UWU Lend, which is essentially a lending protocol in the DeFi space, is offering $5 million as a bounty to anyone who can catch this exploiter inside the crypto space. For anyone that's able to catch who this person is that hacked their platform twice in the space of a week, this platform inside the crypto space is offering them $5 million as a reward so they can find out who this person was. After the UWU Lend exploiter failed to return funds, the protocol is taking another initiative to catch the culprit. The UWU Lend has established a bounty worth $5 million in Ethereum. So you're going to be paid in Ethereum $5 million for the first person to identify and locate the exploiter. According to an input data message, IDM, on Ethereum, adding that no recovery of funds or charges required. Previously, the protocol had discussed establishing a bounty directly with the exploiter. The attacker could keep 20% of what they took as long as they returned 80%. So they were in contact with this culprit. And they said, look, we know you, essentially, we don't know who you are, but we've made some sort of connection with you right now. You can keep 20%, but just give us back 30%, just give us back 80%. The culprit decided to hack them again instead. If the exploiter complied, the protocol stated it would not pursue the matter further and not involve law enforcement regarding the incident. The exploiter had until 1 p.m. Eastern Time to pay back the money and to return the funds, essentially. But in a Thursday message that came out today, the exploiter, the protocol, wrote that the repayment deadline for the funds you stole has passed. The exploiter first attacked UWU Lend on Monday through a flash loans compromise that resulted of a loss of $20 million. And on Thursday, the protocol lost another $3.7 million. Security experts believe the same culprit intacted both attacks the block previously reported. I mean, how bad is your security for you to be compromised the same way twice? I mean, if I was that particular crypto project, I wouldn't even be putting a $5 million bounty to get the money back. Because how can anyone trust you after that? You got compromised twice by the same guy in the same method. At that point, I would say keep your $5 million instead of giving it out as a bounty. Anybody that can find that person, and just close up shop. Honestly, just close up shop and just keep your $5 million as a bounty for yourself. Because you are not meant to be inside the blockchain space and running a platform. If you get compromised by the same person in the space of a week, once for $20 million and the second time for $3.7 million. Now, I have some news on regarding to who the EU has chosen. So the EU has something called the Digital Sandbox, which I revealed to everybody on this live show that I do every single night a while back ago. The UK has a digital sandbox, the EU has a digital sandbox. Ironically, the US is sharing digital sandbox with the UK. But a digital sandbox is basically where governments and corporates can come together and test out crypto platforms in this digital sandbox. Picture it as like a virtual box. Is where they test out these platforms, these crypto platforms, and decide which one is the best to go ahead with. Well, I have some news on what the EU has chosen so far as their backings for Web3 ID. And I'll tell you what the crypto project is after I go through the comment section. So where we were here. Since neither Tangent nor Ledger support CFX coins, is Trezor safe? 3 option for me. Thanks in advance, Miles. Trezor is safe, but Trezor has been compromised in terms of emails once. Not in terms of the actual device itself, but in terms of emails they've been compromised. Miles, do you think AI could hack an exchange down the road? Could AI hack an exchange down the road? Possible. Is it going to be a successful hack? It has to be a very strong AI, but also, obviously, the AI tools that we have won't hack exchanges because the AI itself, one, is being monitored, and two, it won't hack anything. However, bad actors, so bad people in the words, can, use alternatives to the ChatGPT for essentially that we have right now, 4.0 for example, and use an alternative to that to build his own hacking tool. Yes, it's possible. And are they going to be successful hacking exchanges? Depends on the exchange. Honestly, it does depend on the exchange. Because if they try to hack Binance, it has extremely high security. If they try to hack, a small time exchange, crypto exchange, is possible for them to get through. Are they going to be successful first time around? Probably not. But after multiple hackers and so on, maybe they can squeeze through. But also remember, as the bad side of the internet, essentially the hacking world, for example, let's just say. But as I said previously as well, the more we go into a digital world, the more hacking and scamming will get advanced. So the more we shift into the digital world, the hacking and scamming will get advanced, yes. But at the other side, the security will also get more advanced as well. So it's not just the hackers will take over, because as the hackers get stronger and stronger with their softwares and tools along the road, the exchanges and crypto platforms and banks also increase their security alongside them. So it's going to get difficult for them to be able to hack huge platforms, but maybe the smaller ones probably get compromised. So Europe is going to be using the crypto project IOTA. Europe is going to be using IOTA Web3 ID solution in its KYC processing. So as I said, that Europe has been doing testings of blockchains inside of their digital sandbox before they implemented throughout the whole of Europe. And IOTA has been one of the projects chosen for it. Europe took a big step in its mission to streamline its Know Your Customer KYC process by selecting IOTA's Web3 identification solution on June 13th, essentially. Not today, yesterday. Well, because right now in London, it's about 1:19 a.m. So technically yesterday. But this news did come out. Well, yesterday, actually. I'm reading it. You get the picture. It's 1:19 a.m. That's why. If I read this story out about an hour ago, it was going to be today. But an hour later, it's tomorrow. Europe took a big step in its mission to streamline its Know Your Customer KYC processes by selecting IOTA's Web3 identification solution on June 13th. The European Commission announced the participation for the second coherence of the European Blockchain Sandbox initiative. Among the chosen few is IOTO, the popular open source distributed ledger and cryptocurrency ecosystem. The goal is to enhance security and efficiency in KYC processes, ensuring higher transparency and trust in cross-border transactions. With IOTO's technology, Europe hopes to set a new standard in digital identifications and verification essentially. And Bricken is another platform chosen. Bricken's digital asset platform could revolutionize asset management in Europe as well. Bricken has made significant headways with its digital asset platform, which allows tokenizations of real world assets. The Commission chose the platform alongside IOTO because of its use cases, which include financial instruments like debit, equity shares, and revenue streams. The platform enables entities to obtain investments and manage investors' relations more effectively. By converting real world assets into digital tokens, Bricken ensures a secure and transparent ledger. This makes it easier for companies to attract investments and maintain investor trust. Bricken's platform is designed to be flexible, adhering to various legislative standards and adapting to future regulatory requirements. Bricken's technology streamlines processes like settlements and distribution of earnings through smart contracts, offering a plug and play solution that requires no technical expertise from users, said the company's spokesperson. Rex also brings innovation to real estate space as well. The real estate.exchange essentially, transforming how real estate assets are brought and sold and invested by using distributed ledger technology DLT. By tokenizing real estate assets, Rex provides a secure, transparent, and efficient marketplace also for investors. And Rex allows companies to raise capital by ensuring real asset tokens, estate tokens that can be traded on the secondary markets. And also, unlike traditional exchanges, Rex uses automated market maker systems to facilitate tradings through liquidity pools, eliminating the need for direct buyer-sell matchings as well. And also, participants of Rex undergo strict KYC, KYB procedures to ensure secure trading environments. The platform also enables fractional ownership, offering an easier path to entering the real estate market. These services align with EU's goals of economic exclusivity. According to the Commission, which claimed to be citing an industry expert, Rex's DLT-based records provide enhanced transparency, helping to combat money laundering and illicit financing. This operational efficiency significantly reduces the time and cost in trading, clearing, and settlement processes. In the pilot project, digital identity experts from 12 EU member states are exploring how digital wallets, national business registries, and legal entity verification systems can work together. So, regarding the EU, by the way, this is not the only platforms the EU is using. And these platforms that have been chosen mostly have been chosen in terms of their KYC backgrounds, of how they're going to be providing KYC for the EU, but also for Web3 ID solutions, is what this is right now. Even the Bricken and even Rex, even though they have capabilities for real world assets, they've actually been chosen alongside IOTO for their Web3 ID solutions features. So, in terms of the EU, are they going to be using other crypto projects, or is this it? No, this is not it. This is not the only list they're going to be using. The EU is going to be using a variety of blockchains for different features. So this was for their Web3 ID solutions. They're going to be going with ITO and 2 other blockchain companies. Now, on the other aspects of cross-border payments, they're going to be using a different project, and for other aspects, they're going to be using different project data, and so on. But so far, we have 2 coming out of it. Now, the next news to go from tonight's live show is regarding Ripple's CEO. Ripple's CEO has actually said when he thinks this lawsuit will end, within what time frame, essentially. So Ripple's CEO has given his perspective of within what time frame the lawsuit is going to come to an end. And I'll tell you after I read the comment section. And Miles, do you think? No, is it tomorrow? It's today. It's today. Has the EU reported if they all? Has the EU reported if they were also using XRP? They don't need to, because the Bank of International Settlements has already put that on their PDF documents. So they don't need to. The EU falls under the Bank of International Settlements as a G20 country. Can everybody see me? Put a thumbs up if you can see me. Put a thumbs up if you can see me. Yep, we're back. We're back. Yes, we're back. Okay, so we're back. Sometimes the platform that I'm using, that I'm multi-streaming to. So it's a platform that I'm using to multi-stream to X and YouTube at the same time. Very rarely it cuts out like this and it comes back again. It's a bug in the system, probably. Now, the news that I was going to tell you regarding Ripple's CEO before it cut out of nowhere. Ripple's CEO has revealed when the SEC lawsuit could finally end. Ripple CEO Brad has revealed when he believes that the US Securities and Exchange Commission SEC lawsuit could finally end. Indeed, the Ripple head recently discussed the legal battle, speaking at the XRP Ledger Apex event at 2024. So right now, obviously, the massive XRP Ledger event that is going on inside of Amsterdam right now. Massive XRP Ledger event going on, massive Ripple event. And obviously Ripple's CEO is being questioned, the most important question of when is this lawsuit going to end? So he revealed when he believes a resolution could be on its way. The lawsuit has been an ongoing issue for the company since the beginning served with the lawsuit 4 years ago. Ripple and its native XRP token have struggled. However, Brad spoke optimistically regarding an end to the lawsuit, which could be here sooner rather than later. Ripple CEO expects SEC lawsuit resolution soon. Ripple XRP has struggled notably throughout 2024. So far, indeed, the token has not been able to take full advantage of the booming digital asset market that has only been pronounced by tokens like Bitcoin and reaching landmark prices. Yet, one of the biggest hinders facing the company and its token appears to be nearing at an end. Ripple CEO Brad Gilligan recently revealed when its legal fight with the SEC could end. Especially, he noted that it may end sooner than people expect. So Ripple's CEO came out and essentially said that Ripple's case is going to be ending sooner than people expect. And he also said, this is what he said, word for word. Ripple's CEO Brad said, "You know, in some ways, you look at that now and you say, we're almost at the very end of that journey," Brad said. He also said, "The judge will make the decision when she makes the decision. My estimation is sometime before the end of summer." This is according to Brad, before the end of summer. I said it's going to be this year either way, because there's nothing for this case to move forward on. So according to Brad, it's going to be sooner than people expect, the end of Ripple versus SEC case, sooner than people expect. And it's going to be by the end of summer, starting now until the end of summer, is what he's predicting as well. Brad then stated, "Somebody asked me if it would be at the end of August, for example." So Brad said, somebody asked me if it's going to be at the end of August. I pointed out that September 21st is the ending of summer, so I don't know. Considering these remarks, the lawsuit should be nearing its conclusion in a matter of months, or within months. That will certainly be good news for XRP. Over the past 30 days, the token has fallen by more than 5%, according to CoinMarketCap. An overall market downtrend has weighed heavily on its performance. A turnaround could entirely depend on the momentum from a legal resolution at that time. So, according to Brad, in this massive XRP Ledger Apex event that's going on in Amsterdam right now, he was questioned, when do you think the case will end? Brad said it's going to be sooner than people think. And he also said end of summer. And then he also said September 21st. Until now, basically from now until September 21st. And sooner than people think. So it can happen sooner than that deadline as well. Look, either way, I said this. If Ripple is confident enough to bring out a stablecoin while, on this ongoing battle versus the SEC, then that means this lawsuit is about to end this year as well. Because if this lawsuit wasn't going to end, Ripple would have never released their stablecoin. So they're releasing their stablecoin this year, and this case is going to come to an end this year as well. That's why they're confident to release it. Otherwise, Ripple could have released their stablecoin next year, but they didn't. Or the year before that, but they didn't. If they're releasing it now, it's because this case is about to come to an end. That's why they're confident enough. Now, but in the Bank of International Settlements documents, it doesn't mention XRP about cross-border payments. It states that only the option of those who wrote it and not the bank of the settlement itself. Actually, inside the Bank of International Settlements PDF document, it states the company Ripple, and that Ripple payments, according to Ripple themselves on their own website 4 days ago released, it says that Ripple payments actually utilizes XRP in every single aspect. And XRP plays a core role part. According to Ripple themselves, 4 or 5 days ago, they released a Q&A of how they're going to exactly be using XRP on their own website. And the Bank of International Settlements document actually mentions Ripple, the company. So that way. On cross-border payments. The PDF document cross-border payments. The title is cross-border payments. It says Swift, Ripple, and about 20 other companies. 10 other companies, sorry. 24th of September. Hello, everyone. I miss you so much. Bull XRP, how you doing? So, we have also reached the endings of tonight's live show as well. But that is good news to hear from Brad. I always say everyone's entitled to an opinion, and opinions are not correct on facts or facts. But coming from the founder himself, essentially, the CEO himself, his opinion holds weight. Some people's opinions do hold weight. Especially from a guy that's been battling the SEC for 4 years. His opinion holds weight. Because just remember this. The last time Brad came out and said, we're going to get a resolution in a matter of weeks, not months. Okay? The last time Brad came out and said, we're going to get a resolution in a matter of weeks, not months, we did get a resolution from the XRP case. Again now, Brad is saying essentially that from now until September, essentially, it's going to come to an end. And he said it's going to come to an end sooner than people expect. The last time Brad mentioned that something is going to come to a resolution, it did. On the exact timeline, he said. Within that timeline. And now he's saying it again. He's saying it's going to come to an end sooner than people expected. So, also at the beginning of this year, at the end of 2023, we had 4 members of Ripple Labs come out and say what's going to happen in 2024. We had David Schwartz come out and say what's going to happen in 2024. We had Ripple's chief legal advisor come out and say what's going to happen in 2024 in terms of XRP and Ripple. We had Monica Long come out and say what's going to happen in 2024 in terms of XRP and Ripple. And we had Brad come out and say what's going to happen in terms of Ripple and XRP and so on in 2024. 4 high-profile members of Ripple Labs came out at the end of 2023 to say what's going to happen in 2024 for XRP and Ripple Labs moving forward. And it was all positive. And now we have Brad saying it's going to happen sooner than people expect. It's this year. Now, on this live show, we talked about Ripple and Brad's perspective on the endings of this case. We also talked about Europe and IOTA, essentially choosing IOTA and a couple of other projects as well. We talked about UWU getting essentially sued twice. UWU getting compromised twice. We talked about the EU regulations and the politicians and what their perspectives are, each single group on what their perspectives are. Quite positive from the EU so far. We talked about the Chinese government sentencing people who tried to launder money using Chinese CBDC. How much of an idiot you have to be for that one. We talked about Mike Novoscott giving his opinions, essentially on meme coins on tonight's live show is what we talked about. We talked about Terraform Labs burning their own token in terms of Luna and Luna C, which could help the price points. We talked about Tim Ryan talking about Gary Gensler pretty much might be booted at the door. We talked about Curve Finance essentially going some compromisation issues. We talked about SEC Chairman Gary Gensler regarding the Ethereum ETF approvals. We talked about interest rates from a former Fed vice chairman on tonight's live show as well. We talked about the Bitcoin book that's playing a role inside of politics right now. We talked about the Taiwan government establishing regulations. We talked about the CFTC and Biden. We talked about also MicroStrategy in terms of their shares on tonight's live show. So if you enjoyed this live show, watching this live show, if you enjoyed it, drop a follow, drop a like, and tune into it every single night. You can tune into this live show every single night on X or on YouTube, depending on where you're watching this from now. 11:25 p.m. every single night onwards UK time. You can tune into this live show. I talk about recent news that's happening around the world in terms of cryptocurrencies, AI, regulations and politics and so on. And we do Q&As as well, which means you ask the questions, I give you the answers. And if you're wondering who am I to be answering people, I have a background in business, finance, tech, law, and cybersecurity. I also own a blockchain startup company called CoinMove. I also have quite a lot of executives from quite high-profile exchanges and founders from the Graph Project and so on around me as well. So quite well informed about the blockchain space. Not only because I share the news, but because I'm actually in the blockchain space. So if you enjoyed this live show, drop a follow, drop a like. This has been essentially episode, let's see. This was episode 86. 86 episodes I've done back to back every single day, sharing you amazing news as happening inside the crypto space and informing you on news that you should know about as well in terms of regulations and politics, in terms of cryptocurrencies. Every single night. This is episode 86. 86 days back to back I've been doing this live show right now on X and YouTube. So if you enjoy this live show, generally, drop a follow, drop a like, and tune into it every single night on X or YouTube. And also we have a Telegram group as well, which is completely free. Anyone's more than welcome to join a Telegram group as well. The link is on YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you're watching this on X, it's on X. Amazing group of people as well. CMF family, amazing group of people, every single one of them. Also free. Everything I do is completely free. I believe education should always be free of source. So I will never charge you a single penny for anything. Now, we have come to the endings of this live show. Good night, Miles and CMF. See you all tomorrow. Emo, see you tomorrow sometime as usual. Good night, Miles, and all of the CMF. Thank you for all the great news. JPC tomorrow about the same time as usual as well. XRP is going to do good numbers when this is all settled. It's been waiting for years. Facts. Thank you, Miles. Pierce, no problem. See you tomorrow, same time as usual. Miles, I mentioned your live today with Crypto Chick. Thank you for that. Thank you for Iman for sharing this live. Thank you so much to everyone that's been sharing this live as well. Another great session tonight, Miles. Let's go, Scott. Scott, thanks so much for the kind words as well. I will be seeing everybody tomorrow. Same timing as usual. Everybody have a great day or a good night, depending on where you are around the world. So, CMF, I'll see everyone tomorrow, same timing as usual. Everybody have a great day or a good night, depending on where you are around the world. See you tomorrow, same time as usual. Miles, I shared your information with educators today. Scott, thank you so much for doing that. But honestly, thank you so much to everyone that's been sharing this live show, to everyone. Miles, you are creating millionaires. Let's go. That's great to hear that I am creating millionaires. Good night. Stormy, see you tomorrow, same time as usual. I'll see everybody tomorrow, same time as usual. Everybody have a great day or a good night, depending on where you are around the world. CMF, see you tomorrow.